DM forces me to change alignment in the hopes that I will police his problem players for him. In college, I shared an apartment with 3 of my friends. All of us were into D&D, but we were into it for vastly different reasons. The cast list is as follows. Matt, our DM. Matt is into D&D for grand, epic stories and the feeling of adventure. Matt had picked up Curse of Strahd and was eager to run it, but didn't have very many friends aside from the other flatmates. Matt was also a massive pushover, which will become blatantly apparent soon. Brett. Brett is a resident power gamer. He wants big battles, strong enemies, and the ability to wipe them off the map with little effort. What he brought to the table was some homebrew psionic class that was based around charisma. He could one-shot a lot of things, even at level 3, which is what we started at. And he only ever spoke when he was about to roll for persuasion or deception. Jack. Jack is the resident that guy, and I say that with as much love as I can, because he is, to this day, one of my best friends. Jack likes to create homebrew fanfiction concoctions and convince DMs to let him play them. For this game, Jack had asked Matt to play a character with an omnitrix. Omnitrix? For those who are unaware, an omnitrix is a device from the cartoon series Ben 10. Essentially, it's a piece of alien tech that allows the wearer to transform into any of 10 aliens. Completely broken and should not be allowed anywhere in any game, but Matt, normally being a pushover, he allows it. Jack is, surprisingly, not the source of my pain in this story, though. He has one rule: don't fuck with the party. As such, as dumb and game-breaking as his character was, it rarely caused an issue with the players, because, well, Jack is a funny guy, and oftentimes he made whatever he did in-game entertaining. The players were on board with it. Lastly, there was me. As a player and a person, I tend to be a peacekeeper. I truly don't care what kind of game I join, so long as everyone gets whatever they want out of it. Generally, I wait until I see what everyone is playing and what everyone wants. Then I tailor my character to complement the party members and what the DM wants to do. In this case, this meant finding a middle ground. Someone could easily joke around with the party and not get mad. Both Jack and Brett were evil, masquerading as chaotic neutral, and someone who could keep the story moving to keep the DM happy. So, I made a true neutral war cleric. Someone who would see his teammates as a necessary evil to accomplish tasks, but wouldn't treat the NPCs as cruelly or coldly as the others. With that, we begin Curse of Strahd, and at least from the player side, it's going pretty well. Brett plays a glass cannon that can wipe things out of existence. Jack's fucking with NPCs doesn't interfere with the main plot and genuinely makes us laugh. And I'm spending equal time pushing the plot forward and playing comedic straight man to Jack's asshole shapeshifter. Everyone was having fun. At least, I thought that the DM was having fun. He showed no visible signs of being unhappy, but this began to unravel when we reached a temple around session 3. People who have run Curse of Strahd might be familiar with this one. There's a church with a priest inside that is deeply depressed. If you pry into what's bothering him, you will eventually find out that his son has been turned into a vampire. The priest is hiding him in the basement of the church and asks you to deal with it, because he both emotionally and physically cannot bring himself to kill his son. The side quest doesn't take long. We kill the vampire's son, collect the reward. Right before we leave, we notice that the priest is looking at the rope hanging from the bell tower. The implication being that he's about to hang himself as soon as we leave, having lost everything. Jack, being a little shitlord, decides to cut the rope and walk out of the temple with it. The priest begins to break down and yell at Jack, telling him that he has no right to take away his one escape from this hellish life. To smooth over the situation, I lay my hand on the priest and cast Calm Emotion. The priest relaxes and I speak. I know that you're feeling lost right now, friend. Confused, sad, and full of rage. I understand that right now, this feels like the only path of relief, but please, believe me, this too will pass. So long as you work towards a life worth living, we will reach it. There is another path ahead of you, one that doesn't end quite as quickly, one that sees you find peace in this life, I promise. The DM looks at me and thinks for a moment. I thought he was thinking about what to say next, but after mulling it over, he takes my character sheet from me and begins erasing my neutral alignment, instead penciling in neutral good. I ask him what the hell he's doing. Yeah, alignment is based on actions, not your feelings. If you're gonna do good things, then your character is a good person. I argued with him, saying that one good action doesn't change someone's entire alignment. He didn't care. I reminded him that just earlier that day, I had distracted a shopkeeper while Jack and Brett had stolen a bunch of shit from a general store. He ignored me. I told him that my god in-game was chaotic neutral, and that it wouldn't make sense for a neutral good character to follow him. He told me that maybe I should reconsider retconning my chosen deity. And with that third argument brushed off, we were apparently done talking about the issue. He launched himself back into the session. The priest at the temple heeded my words and promised he wouldn't kill himself, and the session ended. As soon as the post-session banter was over, I tried to talk to Matt about it away from the table. Regardless of how I felt about it, he stood his ground. Well, okay. If he wasn't going to listen to me out of character, then I had to do what was keep doing neutral or evil acts in character, and he would swing my character in the opposite direction, right? Well, after a few more sessions, I quickly realized that I was being naive. Rather than being the distraction, I'm now taking an active role in Jack's stealing. He's been taking anything useful that isn't nailed to the floor, so now with teamwork, we can clean out shops, encampments, you name it, we steal it. Every time the DM asks me, is that something that your character would do? I tell him, we're the heroes, so this is all for the greater good, right? This only frustrates him. I tell him if he feels this isn't what a neutral good character would do, he could always change me back. He doesn't respond to it and moves on. Next, Jack is using one of his scarier alien forms to bully an innocent NPC into giving us information. I see this happening and the DM prompts me, isn't this where a neutral good cleric would step in? You're right, it is. I say. My character walks away, pretending he saw nothing. I could see Matt seething, but he doesn't do anything yet. Session goes on. Afterwards, Matt pulls me aside this time. Dude, why the fuck aren't you playing your alignment? I'm honestly stunned that he thought I'd cooperate with him railroading my character, but I simply throw his own line back at him. Actions dictate alignments, not feelings. Matt yells at me. I'm not going to change your alignment just because of a few things you did. I fire back, you already did when you changed it the first time. He quickly realized that his bullshit isn't going to work on me and loses steam in the argument. So I ask him straight up, why do you want me to be a neutral good so badly anyways? Finally, he comes out and admits what his thought process is. Brett and Jack aren't taking the game seriously. I need a good aligned party member to stop them from doing stupid things so we can all focus on the plot of the game. At this point, I'm trying very hard not to blow up. As I said before, I'm a peacekeeper. I'm good at mediating, talking through problems, etc. But boy do I hate being forced into that role by someone who didn't ask me first. Especially by people who don't understand how to mediate properly. Me putting a leash on the chaotic players would not fix any issues. It's just going to make Jack and Brett mad, which will cause them to rebel and the whole situation will escalate. Look, I say, I'm not doing your job for you. If you wanted them to be toned down, you should have told them that during character creation, not put it on me to fix the problem now. Matt does not like that answer. They're impossible to work with. You're the reasonable one here. Come on, be the bigger person. What? So I have to pick up the slack because you can't keep them under control? How is that fair to me? Just do it. Do you want to play this campaign or not? I don't think he expected my answer to be no. As the old adage goes, no D&D is better than bad D&D. I had built a character specifically so that the game was as balanced between murder hobo party time and serious fantasy epic as one would expect. I was told that wasn't good enough. No. I had to completely silence and fight against the other players' actions to get them to behave. Nope, not interested. I was out. This game lasted 2 sessions without me at the table before Brett and Jack caused Matt's head to implode and it was cancelled altogether. I have not touched Curse of Strahd since. TLDR, I bring a true neutral character to a Curse of Strahd game, specifically to bridge the gap between the players and the DM's wishes. The DM does not want to compromise, and instead of kicking the problem players in their broken homebrews, he forces me to become neutral good in the hopes that I can put a leash on the problem players and make them behave. I tell him very politely to fuck off.